We're now moving on to the next item on our objectives of things to cover for today, and that is the syllabus. We're going to find out the details about how the course will proceed and what you need to do well in the course. Okay, so let me just swing forward. You saw who I am. You got to see the legs and everything. You remember. You got my history. I introduced myself. Then you introduced yourselves. You took a look at Michael Sandel's Justice, or at least part of his course on justice, the first few minutes. We talked about a moral problem, and you got a chance to express your opinions on it, which we will come back to. But right now, we're going to turn to the syllabus, and you have downloaded it, and you've uploaded it twice, I hope. Now, let's go through. Get that syllabus in front of you. Let's go through so make sure we understand it. Okay. Whoops. Wrong. Okay. Now it looks like I'm going right. So it's the syllabus for philosophy 7400-02. Dash O2 is section 2. CUNY first number of this particular section is 16889, and the title of the course is The Introduction to Ethics. You know who the instructor is. I introduced myself. My office is in T8110B. My telephone number there is 718-368-6823. That the best way to get in touch with me is not to leave a message there, but rather to get in touch with me via email. The main email that I would suggest that you use to get in touch with me, especially if you're looking for kind of a quick response, is this Gmail account that I've set up that I've been using for years here at Kingsborough, called prof.legum@gmail.com, PROF, just one F, dot LEGUM, one G, no E at the end, LEGUM at gmail.com. That's the best way to get in touch with me. Send me an email there. My official Kingsborough email address is richard.legum@kbcc.cuny.edu. For any kind of official notice, if you're taking issue with a grade and you want it reviewed, if you're thinking about withdrawing for the course, or you want to withdraw the course, or any other official correspondence, it should be sent there. But if you do send it there, it would probably be a good idea to send me an email on the Gmail account, just letting me know that it's there, so I'll know to pick it up. Okay, my office hours are Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. At least as of now, they are, and by appointment. And the way you can use my office hours right now is via phone or via Zoom. If we get to the point where we're back on campus, which probably won't happen this semester, you can stop in at my office if I make arrangements to be there. And I might change that depending on when students need me. But right now, I will be available between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Now, the question that we ask in ethics, and it's a fundamental question of philosophy, because the fundamental questions of ethics are fundamental questions of philosophy, is how should I live my life? And this course, as my other ethics courses, also will help you to discover the answer to this question. That is, I'm not going to give you an answer to this question, but I'm going to help you learn how to learn a good method of figuring out what your answer to questions like that should be. Now, the catalog description is that it's ethical and moral theories from Greek philosophers to the present. Problems which are constant in human history will be examined against the background of various classical and modern writers. Pretty wide latitude of what we do in this course. Just for you to understand, Philosophy 7400 fulfills a CUNY Pathways Flexible Core requirement. This is a distribution requirement that the City University has set up to enforce some kind of to make it easy, really, for you to transfer from a 2-year college to a 4-year college, or a transfer within the CUNY system. That is, in the first 2 years, you spend time I should say you spend a significant amount of time fulfilling distribution requirements, and this is one of them. There are 5 groups that they have these flexible core that you have to take at least one course in each of these 5 groups. This course is in the individual and society requirements, so if you successfully complete it, you will have fulfilled that CUNY requirement. Now, to really describe what we're going to do with the course, as I said, the catalog description leaves a lot open for me to deal with, but this course is an introduction to the philosophical study of morality. That is, we're going to study the most influential modern ethical theories. They have their basis in ancient Greek philosophy and ancient philosophy, but we're really going to talk about the two or spend most of our time talking about the two most influential modern ethical theories and how they've been employed to resolve contemporary moral issues and how they play in discussions of contemporary moral issues. These issues and theories are going to be examined from the perspective of enabling you, the student, to better understand, think about, and rationally discuss your decisions from a moral point of view or your decisions about moral judgments. Slip back in the wrong direction. We should keep in mind that philosophy focuses on the person's reasons for believing things. We're not so much concerned about what your moral beliefs are, but rather we want to examine the reasons that you have. And furthermore, in our discussions, we want to be able to discuss other people's reasons to try to get to the right answer. And we'll be examining these most influential modern ethical theories. One originates with two English gentlemen, Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. We'll be spending most of our time on John Stuart Mill's version of utilitarianism or consequentialism. And the other one is a theory that is attributed to, and correctly attributed to, Immanuel Kant, and it's called deontology, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So we're going to be examining these ethical or moral theories, and these have really been proposed by many philosophers to explain and justify moral judgments, and we're going to see how that all works. Now, as a result of taking this course, there are certain things that you should be able to do upon successfully completing the course. And the first thing is to understand alternate concepts of what's worth valuing and what makes our actions right or wrong, of fundamental concepts of ethics, and to be able to apply the concepts to answering major life questions like, should there be a death penalty? Should abortion be legal? Is terrorism ever permissible under any circumstances? Should terrorists be tortured for information? Should marijuana be legalized? Should people be permitted to own guns? And you're going to be able to formulate rational arguments that present your reasons for your answers to these questions. You'll be able to defend your answers from objections, and you'll be able to rationally discuss these issues with others with whom you may disagree, and perhaps, at a bare minimum, understand their reasons. And if you've decided that they're bad reasons, at least understand why you think they're bad reasons and be able to explain that in a rational fashion. Now, while there are required materials in this course, there are no required textbooks. We'll be taking readings from public sources, and it'll be posted where I can possibly do that on Blackboard. Otherwise, you'll be given the references. Mostly, the readings will be taken from sources publicly available on the internet. However, nonetheless, I'd suggest a couple of books. These are my recommendations, especially if you're having difficulty following the primary materials that we're looking for. First of all, there's the Cartoon Introduction to Philosophy, which is what they call a graphic textbook. Something you might have heard in English. They talk about graphic novels. They're talking about comic books. Now, I got to tell you, when I first heard about this, I thought this was like a harebrained idea. That is, why are we going to have a comic book in a college classroom? However, after I got a hold of this at a conference, and I actually bought a copy myself and I understood what they were talking about, I read through it very carefully and I discovered that it really is an excellent way of presenting a lot of the material about what the questions of philosophy are and what philosophers have proposed as the answers to these questions. So if you and in the course, this is an introductory course in philosophy, so we're going to be talking very briefly, but we're talking a little bit about what philosophy is and what ethics is and how one has to do with the other. This is an excellent textbook. In fact, I will take some material out of here for you to read, but I'd recommend reading the entire book. There's another good book, an introductory book to ethics called Hornbook Ethics by Charles Cardwell. And by the way, I'll mention you can find links to these books in Amazon where you can pick them up in the in our course in Blackboard in the course information section. And Hornbook Ethics, short book, we'll talk about moral arguments and give you the basics, the moral theories that we're talking about. Interesting book. I think it could be helpful in giving you an understanding. And there are two books written by a retired professor of philosophy, which were basically his teaching notes. One is called Understanding John Stuart Mill, and a good percentage, about half of that book, is on utilitarianism. And the other one is Understanding Immanuel Kant, and most of the book is Understanding His Moral Theory. And I think these are some excellent books, excellent resources that you have. But as I said, they are recommended but not required. And what that means is I will not assign readings from that, nor will I require that you know material from any of these books unless I give you, let's say, a handout with some small portion of these books, which I probably will do at least with one or two of them.